Sfakia, the wildest landscape in Crete, one of the precious wildernesses of Europe, a rugged area with deep dramatic gorges and soaring peaks plunging to a sea of crystalline purity. Sfakia is dominated by the White Mountains, 57 of whose peaks exceed 2,000 meters. Above the tree line and with little vegetation apart from spiny brush and alpine plants that bloom in the wake of the snow melt in spring. The sheer grey cliffs and pinnacles of Mount Gigilos overhang the Samaria Gorge at Xiloskala. Local legend associates Cretan-born Zeus with this jagged peak. While some say that the name Sfakia derives from Sfaka, the local name for the oleander, others say that it means the land of gorges, appropriate considering the sheer number to be found in the area, among which are some of the most impressive not only in Crete, but the whole of Europe. The most difficult gorges, like the ones of Tripiti or Klados, should only be attempted by fit walkers in the company of a guide. The one and only gorge, as the Sfakians say, is the famous gorge of Samaria. 16 kilometers long, the longest gorge in Europe. Its width varies from 3.5 to 150 meters, whereas its walls reach up to 500. Portes, the narrowest strip of the gorge, is one of the most impressive spots of the path. Samaria, declared a national park in 1962, receives 300,000 visitors from all over the world to do the 6-hour walk, starting at Xiloskala on the plain of Omalos and finishing at the seaside village of Agia Roumeli. If you are lucky, you might catch a glimpse of the Cretan wild goat, Crete, and rare species of birds, chief of which is the bearded vulture, while all around are plants unique to the gorges of Crete. But the gorge has a human as well as a natural history. Until the 1960s, when the area was declared a national park, people lived in the village of Samaria, right in the middle of the gorge, making a living mainly out of woodcutting and beekeeping. The gorge of Aradena, shorter than that of Samaria, is spanned by an iron bridge, connecting this once remote village to the outside world. From here, bungee jumpers launch themselves 150 meters into the sheer-sided gorge. Among the gentler gorges, which can be passed in just a few hours by those of average fitness, are those of Sfakiano, Imvru, Asfendu and Kelkrati. The shelters Kalergi, Katsiveli and Tavri are the ideal basis for your hiking trips as they offer comfortable accommodation. However, only Kalergi is open throughout the year. On your excursions around Sfakia, you will find that the landscape shelters many caves and gorges, most of which are still unexplored. Many of these were resorted to as refugees throughout the Venetian and Turkish periods, and again during the Second World War. Guarded by the passes of the White Mountains, the villages of Sfakia managed to earn for themselves a large measure of autonomy. While experiencing depredation and slaughter, they were never enslaved. In contrast to the ruggedness of its mountains, the coastal area of Sfakia on the Libyan Sea is one of rare beauty. An unending series of coves, bays, and sand and pebble beaches at the end of gorges. Roumeli, built close to the ruins of the ancient Doric town of Tara at the end of the Samaria Gorge, is a picturesque village offering tavernas, rooms to rent, and the chance of a swim in the cool, clear sea. Even though it is not connected by road, you can visit Roumeli by catching the ferry boat from Souia, Paleochora, and Chora Sfakion. East of Roumeli is Agios Pavlos, a beautiful, quiet place with its crystal-clear sea and perfect little 10th century Byzantine church perched right at the sea's edge. Lutro is perhaps the most photogenic village in Crete, with its fresh white painted walls and blue woodwork set in a sheltered bay against a background of barren mountains. Once, under the name of Phoenix, it was the harbor town of Anopolis, almost 600 meters above, and was rich enough in Hellenistic times to issue its own currency. Many ruins are strewn across the headland from Minoan to Turkish times. There are many small coves and beaches around Lutro. Phoenikas, a smaller, even quieter version of Lutro, Lycos, Marmara at the mouth of the Aradina Gorge with its smooth white marble rocks, and Glykanera, a nudist beach where sources of cold clear water can be dug out in the beach pebbles. Situated 75 kilometers from Chania, the capital of Sfakia, Chora Sfakion is the ideal starting point for discovering the whole province. Connected as it is by bus to Chania, Anopolis and Frangocastello, and by boat to Lutro, Roumeli, and the southernmost point of Europe, Rhavdos, a unique, peaceful island, many of its sand dune beaches with their groves of juniper and cedar still unspoiled. East of Chora Sfakion is Frangocastello, with its forbidding block-like Venetian fortress. Beneath it stretches one of the most ideal and romantic beaches on the island, with unsurpassable views of the castle set against a backdrop of mountains and gorges. Not far to the east, the beach of Orthiamos is a place of wind-blown dunes, with wonderful views across the Libyan Sea. fortress of Francocastello, built in 1374 by the Venetians for protection against pirates, is associated up to this day with a strange and unexplained phenomenon of the Drosoulites. In 1821, in the little monastery of Panagia Thymniani, the island's revolution against the Turks was officially declared. In 1828, there was a terrible battle between the Turks and the Greeks at Francocastello. Towards the end of May each year, at the same time that the battle took place, it is said that the black shadows of the Greek soldiers can be seen. The locals call them Drosoulites, derived from a word meaning freshness, because the shadows appear in the freshness of dawn. If you have the chance of visiting Francocastello in August, particularly at the time of the full moon, don't miss the chance of attending one of the concerts staged in the fortress. An unforgettable experience. At the Church of Agios Nikitas at Francocastello, in the middle of September, there is a festival celebrating the saint's name day, giving you the chance both to admire the fine wall paintings and well-preserved mosaic floors, and to watch sport contests and shooting matches. Owing to the ruggedness of its landscape and the bravery of its people, Sfakia maintained its freedom for a long time. So, during the Turkish occupation, the Sfakians were able to engage in trade, stock raising, shipping and piracy. Secluded in their mountain fastness, they also managed to preserve their customs and traditions as well as their distinctive physical characteristics. Tall, well-built and fair-haired, with blue or green eyes. Loyal to their customs and traditions, many Sfakian men still dress in the traditional costume. High black boots, wide fawn trousers and black head covering. In Sfakia, Cretan dances and songs flourished. It is an area rich in tradition and history. Many traditional architectural features are evident in Sfakia's mountain villages. 1- or 2-storied houses with small doors and windows and enclosed courtyards with wells or ovens. The so-called mitata of the high mountains, dry stone domed buildings used by shepherds for accommodation and for the production of cheese, are of particular architectural interest. At Askifu, a traditional village situated on an extensive plain surrounded by mountains, a route center for walkers, is an unusual war museum comprising numerous objects of the Second World War collected by its founder and curator Georgios Hatzidakis over the past 50 years. In the deserted village of Aradena can be found the Church of Archangel Michael, dating from the 14th century, with its unusual dome and beautiful wall paintings. Nearby is the dense pine forest of Aigianis, one of the most extensive in Crete. Southeast of Aradena lies Anopolis, known as the hometown of Ioannis Daskalogiannis, who led the first organized uprising against the Turks in 1770. Anopolis is a stock-raising mountain village with many beautiful stone-built houses set in a landscape of exceptional beauty. From the little church of Agia Ekaterini on the edge of the plain, where there are sweeping views over sea and coast. One of the most important local benefactors was Georgios Xenoudakis, the first Cretan representative in the Greek parliament in 1881, who generously funded the building of all schools in all the Sfakian villages. One of the local specialties is the well-known Sfakian pie, Sfakiani pita, made with local soft cheese and served with honey. Other specialties of the area are smoked pork, a type of chicory known as taonagathi, local rusks, dairy products and meats of exceptional quality, especially lamb. One tradition that demonstrates the solidarity and cooperativeness of the Sfakians is the shearing of sheep, in which all the inhabitants of the village partake. After the shearing, the owner of the herd lays on a big feast as a token of his appreciation. Recently, the village of Kallikratis has become the venue for the Kallikratia, a series of summer events including sporting contests centering on the feast of the Sfakian pie. Another local celebration is the Graviera festival, promoting the qualities of this delicious hard cheese, one of a series promoting local products across the island. Sfakia is a special place, wild and fascinating, which has managed to preserve its local color and its uniqueness. Just as the imposing white mountains display the grandeur of nature, the Sfakians themselves impress with their pride and nobility.